Yeah. Hi, sir. Can we start on ROS as beginner? Yeah, you can start ROS as a beginner with the basic Python programming and Linux. The advantage in our courses, like we'll be going all the basics covered for, and every topic will be covering all the basics. And once the basics is covered, then only we'll be going for the topics. And one more thing about this beginner, Ross as a beginner, many people will be wondering why we need to go as a beginner. Ross will be difficult. But I would suggest it is not that difficult. We can go with beginner only, then only we'll be learning the fundamentals. And if you learn the fundamentals, then only you will be getting familiar about troubleshooting the errors, everything. Straight away you can't go and jump into gazebo or arvis as a visualization tool. So everything requires some fundamentals. So everything, everyone will be starting as a beginner, then only they'll be getting familiar with their domain. Hello. So hi Vaibhav. Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. And how about you? And what are the other things to be considered to begin robotics journey? That's a good question. So once the field you enter into robotics, you need to be very clear about the concepts. The concepts, like people say ROS is for only software oriented people, and it's tough to learn. It's not that much tough. It is subject oriented, and also it is a structured learning. Everything. So you will be able to understand the concepts of robotics and how we can integrate ROS for different applications. Those things can be discussed in this platform. To begin your journey in robotics, you need to be very fundamentally, you need to be aware of all four domains. Basically, it is a electromechanical system. Robotics means so you need to be some basics about mechanical design, then electrical components and electronics, and the programming language. If this suits your particular thing, then you can start your journey. And people with non electrical background or mechanical background are also considered for robotics field. They have wide experience. So it is an interdisciplinary course. So everything you will be having a very introduction, and also like you will be able to understand the concepts. We'll cover all those things. Okay, let me tell my experience. Okay, so What are the opportunities in robotics? The field is getting really interesting. Why means now most of the colleges and most of the industries they focus upon robotics and automation and industry 5.0 with the physical AI and everything. People needs to understand why robotics is important and why we need to give the curriculum to them, and that's the reason this year also, like from IIT, they have launched robotics and automation as their one of their courses for opting robotics engineers. So definitely India is having a good future in robotics, because from my 12 years of experience I can tell now the field is increasing and it is booming like anything. Wherever you see, even a small industries, there will be an automation, and even there will be a small robot to do the man work. So, which it doesn't mean that we are replacing humans. We are reducing the burdens of humans. And one asked about myself, and I'm teaching robotics for 12 years, and I train the students, and my trained students are in all over the world, and people are the basics fundamentals is very important for learning robotics. So if you understand this basics, so you will be able to understand more concepts. So without basics you can't go deep into the things. And one more thing, there are lots of platforms also available for doing these things. So if you just for example, if you want to know about what is robotics and what is ROS, you can just type it in YouTube. You will get lots of videos. But they one which one to choose, which one to get the information. So everyone will be having their own perspective, and there you will be able to get the information, not the learning. So learning will be there, but you need to focus upon the structured learning. So that is where we are unique in bringing all those things. So different from YouTube, you will be able to get information, and if you want to learn, so like a structured thing, starting from the basics and understanding the concepts and applying those concepts and implementing them into the real world solutions, there you will be able to get more opportunities. So we create opportunities. So it's normal only. So you don't need to spend too many hours for learning the basics, because in our course itself we have structured in a way like so everything starts with basics, then requirements of those concepts, and what are the mathematics and what is the fundamentals to be taught, be prerequisites for all the contents. So we will be delivering all those things, so you don't need to worry about things. Yeah, that's very important question. What do you think about AI in robotics? So in robotics, people will be wondering, it's a concept why we need to learn robotics. Now AI is booming. So even if AI is booming, where you will be able to test the application. So AI will be the platform where to bridge the gap between application and the hardware part. So that is the robotics. So AI is definitely required, and in the field of robotics, more ROS concepts has to be implemented. Then only you will be able to understand how these things are useful to you. And regarding the opportunities, again, few of them are asking. There are lots of opportunities. You don't need to worry. Since if you want to tell about robotics career, changed my career, so that will be the one of the advantage, because I am basically a mechanical engineer turned out to be a strong robotics engineer. So which means like every branch has their core and also fundamentals. So mechanical, being a mechanical engineer, you can also pursue a opportunities in robotics, electrical, electronics, computer science, every, because as I previously told, it is a interdisciplinary course, so everyone can jump into this field. How should we select hardware and software for our project? What are the things that should be followed? That's very interesting, and also that is a very important question. So once we find the hardware and software, before that you need to choose the application. Based on the application only, we'll be shortlisting what type of software is required, what type of hardware is required. And now with everyone following this GPTs, simply if they want to go and do one project, they will just go and type it, so and so topic I'm working, what are all the list of hardware and software. So it will give you an options to choose from there itself. But we here tell you with the industrial experience and the academic experiences, we'll be letting you know what type of, start with the basic hardware. Okay, so for learning robotics you can start with Arduino, and now if it will be very good if you start with STM32, and also slightly moving forward Raspberry Pi, and then Jetson Nano, Jetson Oreo. These are all the small software packages, sorry, hardware items which you can be useful. And coming to software, there are lots of platforms and open-ended softwares also available. Like ROS is also a open-ended source, but people know they will be able to demonstrate only what is required for that particular topic. And also you will be, I don't want you to force into uh, read the commands or mug up the commands. You need to practice it so that you will be able to familiarize with the simulation. And once you're familiar with the simulation, then you can deploy it in the hardware. And that is where the ROS is bridging the gap. Since ROS is a middleware and it's also a software architecture for robotics application, many of the robotics applications and many of the robotic components can be integrated into a single platform. And that software is ROS. So ROS is nothing but it's a middleware. Hi Nanda. How important is coding in robotics, and which programming language should I start with? That's very good question, and I was expecting this type of questions. And once the programming language, people from non coding branches like mechanical or electrical or electronics, they will be looking like, for me coding is very difficult. So you start with your basic Python and also C++, and very basic Linux commands is required for starting the robotics. So which it does not require more programming language. It's a programming language with basic Python, it's enough for you to start the robotics. And I'm a mechatronics engineer who got graduated in the year 2025, and right now I am eagerly searching for jobs in robotics field. So what are the jobs can a fresher in mechatronics engineer? So, as comes to mechatronics engineer, that is also a interdisciplinary course where you will be learning the concepts of mechanical, electrical, electronics, and all those fit into the robotics. As a mechatronics engineer, you can search for control specialization, and also you can go for software testing, and also you can go for building robots. And you can target the startup companies. Recently, the survey is telling that more startups are being started in India, so they want mechatronics people. Why means mechatronics means it's a blend of all the major departments. So once they look into that career, they have lots of future. And in the teaching also, in the schools, they can go for the STEM engineer, and robotics engineer in industries. These are all the platforms where you can explore more as a mechatronics engineer. And so, tell us about Gate future of robotics engineer. Very good. And Gate. So it's been long year waiting for Gate to recognize this kind of courses. So this is the first time robotics and automation is being launched in Gate, and people are even. I'm really eager, and I'm waiting for what is things there in that platform. But you are recognized once Gate is being because that is a premier to get into premier institutions in India. IITs, you require Gate, and people have to choose if they choose mechatronics or if they choose robotics and AI, if they choose robotics and automation, where they need to land up. So they don't have separate syllabus or curriculum for designing those aspect. So now recently IIT Madras, they have came up with the curriculum for robotics and AI. So sorry, robotics and automation, where you have two streams. Either you can choose electrical stream, or that is a circuit stream, or non-circuit stream in the mechanical. So anyone you can do it, and that has a very good recognition. So with this Gate launched, many of the colleges, they started robotics and automation as their course. So this is one good important news, and also now everyone is behind this robotics. And also, could you be startup? So see, many industries like difference between already established unit and a startup. So established unit, they will be having certain procedures. Okay, so they need to have to follow all these things. But startup, where your dependence will be more, and they will depend upon you. Your skills justify why I want to join this firm. So then skill sets are very important, and what are all the skills you have done. So being a mechatronics engineer, like either you are skilled in robotics, and also you are skilled in image processing, or are you skilled in developing a control systems. So depends upon the skill sets. So the companies will recruit. And also design, people nowadays design. So everything can't be get into a single GPTs or questions and answers. But if you want to get into the startups, skills are very important, and you need to define why why I'll be fit into this startups. And I wonder, people have this question, sir, I am a mechatronics engineer, and do I need to join robotics as a separate master's course? It's not like that. You can pursue from mechatronics itself, and you can choose your skill sets into developing the robotics career. So if you want to pitch into the robotics engineer or robotics career, the few skill sets are required. Like one is a software part, and before software part, the hardware part that comes with the hardware. So with the hardware, you need to be very careful in design skill. So once if your design skill is good, then you understand the system and the expectation of the firm, what it needs to be designed, and what are all the requirements for that hardware, and what are all the requirements for that software. So for the software part, you need to have a blend of ROS, and being ROS as a middleware which will blend the hardware and the software, and it will give you wide application. And basic, with the ROS alone, you can't get a job. So you need to have some skills apart from ROS. Also, it needs to be blended with Linux basics, Python basics, and also you need to be very careful about the fundamentals of robotics, which is very important. If you are not familiar with the fundamentals of robotics, it will be difficult to enter into this robotics career, because you need to be understanding about what is a sensor, what is a controller, and what are all the hardwares. These things depend highly upon the skills. So once you get familiar with the design, then simulation part, like for ROS, you need to have basic Linux and Python. That's it. Then you can do many things. And also, don't my personal suggestion would be, don't just simply repeat what is available in the internet and also what is available already existing. You try to learn the many concepts and try to build it. So when you are trying to learn, so many errors might occur. So don't think that errors are not rectifiable. So error is, if you are capable to troubleshoot that errors, then definitely you will become a software in robotics engineer. And that is where the skill set is required. And that is one of the thing which we are including in our curriculum. So like for example, if we start with one topic, it starts with the basics. I told, it starts with the fundamental. It will be giving you the picture of the course contents, and 40 percentage theory, and less than that only we never focus upon theory is just for information. We are fully into practical. And once if you are into the practical, we'll be giving you the worksheets, and you will be working on that. But there is a question. So if I start working on this practice problems, so how it is related to my skill set? So there you won't be able to get the answers alone. You need to troubleshoot those errors and how to rectify those errors. That troubleshooting method, that is where we are unique in bringing up this course. And even if you check in YouTube, or you can check in other platforms also, they'll be just telling you, for example, if we are covering about particular topic, node and publisher and the subscriber, and how to get the demo node and those things. But here we'll stuck up, suppose if we are using the multiple sensors. So for example, like camera, or lidar, or IMU sensor, these are the basic sensors, encoders for robotics, autonomous mobile robot. And if you don't understand that concept, and definitely you will be ended up in just plug and play kind of a kit. So I want you to troubleshoot the errors, and we will teach you that debugging errors. That is one thing I'm telling you, that that is where we are unique, and we'll be teaching those part. And you kindly, I use face issues while testing and get confused between hardware software issues. How can I work efficiently while facing issues and don't get confused between hardware and software? Yeah, one thing I would like to address here. Basically, nowadays with the technologies and with the applications, there are lots of platforms. Simply, if you get an error, don't just cut that error and paste it into some GPTs and get random solutions. GPTs will give you solutions, but you need to understand. So, why this problem occurred, and where it might be occurring. So, how to solve this problem. So, you need to backtrack it every time and make a note of this. If for example, even if you change the pin, so when we are inserting a pin with Raspberry Pi, or if we go with the Jetson pack or whatever it is, any hardware, you need to be very careful in before testing it. So real deployment. So that is where you need to come up with the solutions called simulation. So in simulation, for example, if you take with the ROS2, so if you go with the simulation, like you are not just simply going for the visualization. First, you need to learn the fundamentals, then you will be able to understand the concepts, then you will be able to understand the model. Once that model is developed, and then you will be able to visualize it. Once you visualize those models, then you will be able to understand what the camera is giving, what type of data we are getting it from the camera, what is an lidar, what type of data I'm getting it from the lidar, and how the IMUs are working, how the teleoperation is moving, and how the robot itself it is moving. So you get familiar with the simulation, then with the same hardware, same concepts, you will be deploying it in your hardware concepts. So there it will be, chances will be very minute. Okay, so bold enough to face the errors. And there are lots of circuit designing tools also. So first get familiar with those circuit designing simulation platform, then you go with the real hardware deployment. Do we need documentations to start working on projects? Are documents important? If yes, how much it is importance in making a project? Okay, so documentation very important. So without documentation, you can't go back, because even if there is a concept without documentation, you will end up with a different application. But focused application needs with the proper documentation. Each and every step has to be documented, and that, for example, it depends upon the application. For AMR, let us consider with the autonomous mobile robot. So you can go with the navigation. So that navigation part itself, you can go with the different navigation, like visual navigation and lidar navigation. So if it is visual, means you will go with the camera. If it is lidar navigation, means you need a lidar for navigation and to avoid the obstacles. So if you don't document it, so once you insert the camera, and that camera will give you, okay, it is getting feedback from the source, and based on that my navigation path is achieved. So like that, there are lots of things. First, prioritize your application. Based on your application, document everything. Even if you don't document, then you will be like, every time you will be getting some doubts, and that time you will be need to choose where to go and how to choose that problem. On the projects, common mistakes people what they do, so before designing, before without designing the concept, they just simply fabricate the things. So fabrication, I strictly avoid those things without prototyping and without simulation and testing. So if you have a proper project idea, formulate it, and have a mind mapping, what are all the things to be included, and have a discussion. And even if it is an individual project, you go with your you ask yourself whether my project is going in your right direction. So for that, you need to go with the design, and then you need to analyze, then you need to simulate, then only you need to fabricate. So don't just go with the fabrication. People think that even if I have a two wheels which is directly connected to the motor, and that motor is connected to the battery, it doesn't mean that it is a robotics. Okay, so you need to understand the design of your application, then analyze that and gather the data related to that, and then you start working on your project. The common mistake is don't directly pitch into the hardware fabrication without simulation. Sir, I am making a project for my final year college project. I was not able to find the proper team to help me with the project, and due to the large project nature, I am stuck. How can I sort it? Okay. So choosing project batchmates is a hectic thing. People think it's not like that. You need to choose the right person, and also you need to have good rapport with your teammate. Either he has to follow what you say, or he has to be in line with your thoughts, and then only you have to understand his problem. Then you tell him, this is what I'm expecting from your side, since you are good in designing, so I am recruiting you as my project mate. I'll be helping you out in the programming part. This is how give and take policy has to be there within the project teammates itself. Then only you will create lots of bond. Or else, hey, what is your simply major question, what is your contribution to the this project? Everyone, then they will be coming up with the solution. Sir, I bought the hardware, I bought the software, and I built this platform. simply it is not the kind of answers we require. It should be in a way like a completely professional way. So you need to tell, so I have done this design part and I have documented everything, and which it created my friend. So he has contributed in a software domain, and he has contributed in the hardware implementation. This is how teammates work. And if there is no right teammate, only one is working and other is getting that benefit, now that trend is over, guys. So everyone is aware that you need to have some skill sets. That is where we are focusing upon the projects as a basic requirement for entering into the industries. And for example, people say, what is your final year project, can you tell? So based on your final year project, you will be discussing, and we will be understanding what type of skill sets you have deployed over there and how that skill sets will suit my firm. This is where project is very important. So kindly take serious note for project and project teammates also. And vision, very good. So, what is the application of vision in industrial automation, and how robots work with the camera? So, vision is very important one, and vision, it requires machine vision system we used to call, and also image processing is there. And for example, if I am using a camera and I get a picture, and from that picture, it needs to be transferred the data to the control systems. Image processing will be done, then the control systems will be there, and based on the image data extracted, so that how the application it is suiting my application. So very important part in robotics also. So vision has a wider different domains, so you can focus upon that also. Is there any alternative for codes? I'm not strong in coding as my background is from mechanical. Don't worry, guy. So there are plenty of opportunities, and the coding what you will be learning is very easily with the platforms now available, and also the resources you have, and the documentations for coding. That is very easy for as a mechanical engineer. You don't need to worry that coding is a much required thing. If you ask me, then that is where people lose. Okay, since I am being a mechanical engineer at my UG level, then transferred into masters mechatronics, then I have robotics. So see how a mechanical engineer is transformed into robotics engineer. So coding is much required, and you should not fear about those things. And very importantly, you can join the courses, and whichever course, not only from this platform, any platform, if you join, coding as a mechanical engineer is really really needed. And don't get or don't afraid, I need to learn the entire codings and all. It is not like that. Just a basic python programming and C++ is enough for jumping into robotics domain. Very good. So I don't understand embedded systems. What do we do in this field? See, if you don't understand the embedded systems, and if you don't understand the difference between the microcontroller and the microprocessor, then definitely you can't build the hardware. So you can't become a hardware in robotics. So if you want to gain some hardware experience, you need to gain some experience in this microcontroller and microprocessors. So as embedded systems are like many advanced tools are there, many advanced hardware devices are there, but you can choose the basic one and you can start your hardware deploying. And embedded system is much required for a robotics engineer. So as a curriculum itself, in our curriculum we have designed not only focusing upon ROS, so we are also focused upon embedded systems, control systems, and electrical systems, electronic systems, and programming. So these are all a structured course. That is what I'm telling you. This platform will give you a structured learning. So a structured learning means, so if you start from 1 and end at the 10, so everything will be structured in a way like what we wants to make an engineer. Many people used to tell, so only I am from CS background, or I know only programming, so will that affect the robotics career? It's not like that. See, you are good in programming means then you can pursue your career in simulation and software part. But real field work is very important. For that we need basic embedded systems. So start working on with Arduino, start working on with the stem, and start working on with STM32s. That is basic embedded system like ESP32 systems, and then advanced. For example, if I go with camera, someone was telling what type of hardware can be used. We can use the vision hardware. So the vision might be, you need to have the processor capability. So for that we'll go for Raspberry Pi, Jetson Orient, Jetson Nano, and there are lots of packages. Yeah, simulation. So, what we will be doing in simulation? Basically, we'll start with what is required. For example, for doing the simulation, there are different platforms. Visualization has to be done first. So, once you do the visualization, then you can go for the advanced simulation platforms like NVIDIA, ISEXIM, and Jetson Thor. These are all the advanced platform for simulation platform. So you can go with the simulation, and also you can explore with this basic concepts. You can deploy it over there. Training the LLM for robots. Do you know any models to train the robot? Definitely, we'll be using LLMs, and large language models are definitely required. And with the AI application, for example, if we want the robots to speak in our native languages, so we need to have the LLM models. And we will be in future, we are launching those things also in the curriculum. And our focus is not directly launching the advanced versions. We are into the field because we want the basics to be strong, and everyone wants to learn what is the basic concepts. And I don't want people to go and see the learn advanced concepts and then tell themselves that sir, I got a certification in this so and so. But when I ask the basic question, sir, it's just a silly question, or it's just a basic, actually I know that, sir, but the industry won't accept that. Actually, if even if you are not knowing the concepts of advanced technologies, you will be into the technology based on your basics. Once if your basics are strong, then you are anything, you can do it. So give importance for basics, and step by step, as I told in the beginning itself, it's a structured learning. So structure the things. For example, if it is robotics domain, what are all the things it is required? If it is AI domain, what are all the things we require, starting from machine learning to ending up the LLMs. So these are also required, and you can give much importance, and expertise are also there. And we will be soon launching that also, so we require more things. And any other question, guys? We'll be starting with robotics, ROS, and fundamentals of robots. Everything we'll be covering, and we make you the basics strong. Then we will be slightly, we'll be moving forward what is required. Thank you. I hope this session is informative, and also one more thing I want to address here. Whenever we launch the course, and we will be going live many times, and you can interact with me, and also we give that freedom for interaction. So everyone are welcome. Keep following us. Mm, Let me wait for another 5 minutes. It's almost 8:45. Any other question, guys? I think, let me check whether I have addressed all your queries. Project, Vision Industrial. Yes. Yeah. Gazebo is a simulation platform, so where you can test your physical simulations, and Arvis is a platform where you will be able to visualize your robot model. And once you go into the Gazebo, is an advanced version of other version for visualization tool. So as I told, NVIDIA Isaac Sim and Jetson Thor, those are all the advanced packages. But the basic visualization tool, that is the physics behind the robot, can be visualized in Gazebo. So we have formulated in a structured way, like directly not pitching into Gazebo, making you to learn Gazebo, as well as the content it's also be there. And you don't need to worry about a separate course has to be done for Gazebo or with visualization tools. So it's all part of our course. And once you visualize it, then we'll be going for the next courses also. So, hi. It's understanding their surroundings. It's because of their sensors. What type of sensors? Sensor is basically the one which interacts with the environment. So based on the sensors, so it will be able to understand, and then it will be able to feedback, and then you will be able to deliver the output. Good evening. And let's wait for another 2 minutes. Thank you, thank you. I hope you have gained what you wanted to get it from here. Okay, guys, it's time. So we'll meet in next live session and lots more to be discussed. And I welcome you all for the platform and utilize this platform. And we are there to train you, and also we are there to mold you as a proper robotics engineer. That's assurance I can give it from my side. And thank you all. Thank you all for joining this stream. And one more question. Think is a beginner gap between AI can do in simulation and what can reliability. Very good. So the difference is people go behind this gpts. I told no in the beginning itself we discussed about how gpts are spoiling the careers. Simply it will give you the solution, so what is required. And also you can think, for example, you will be having an idea, and if you just give it as a prompt, it will give you the solution. But when it comes to real world, you need to think about the practical scenarios. So to do that practical scenarios, to address those issues, you need to understand the concepts as I told: design, analyze, simulate, train, and then deploy it. So, this is where you will be able to understand the concept between AI and as well as the deployment in the robotics. Don't start your career or don't start any project before doing some analysis and the design. So if you directly start with the fabrication, then definitely you will end up with lots of questions and lots of remodeling of your entire project. So avoid those mistakes, and try to start in the structured way. What's on robotics problem that looks easy to human but difficult for robotics and AI? Yeah. So in robotics platform, lots of platforms are available, and humans. So when it comes to easy to humans but difficult to robotics and AI, because as I told, so AI is not just it's going to take your position. So it's how you are going to run that machine. That is where you need to understand, and we can teach you how to program a robot. But when it comes to troubleshooting, so you need to understand the concepts, then only you will be able to troubleshoot that error and understand why it is required. And even the machines will get confused if you give lots of commands. And beyond, even everything has some limit. Even if it is human or if it is AI, everything has some limit. Those limits, within that limit we have to go. So don't forget about the basics of basic laws of robotics building by Isaac Asimov. How to learn robotics easily? See, it's very easy. You just practice in your day-to-day life, and keep thinking how if I deploy a robot over there, and what type of concepts I need to learn, and what type of skills I need to learn, so that you will be able to understand how robotics is easy for us. So correlate day-to-day life, and importantly, you need to understand how we will be using this in that field. Max. max is just a fundamental thing. So that's we will be covering where for everything you need to understand the basics. So that will be covered with the basics concepts. So you don't need to worry about the math, but without math nothing can be achieved. So math, we will be covering all the basics, don't worry. And I hope the session will be very informative, and we'll see you in next session. And thank you all for joining, and subscribe to this channel, and keep waiting for the updates. We'll be keep on posting the updates, and see you all in the next session. Thank you all. Bye.